So, we just in a previous episode we talked a little bit about the Yeti. It seems that you think they're different than the Bigfoot. How many different types of these unknown hominids do you think there are in worldwide? I mean, they all have different names, but how many do you think there really are, different types?
Well, it's hard to say. Some people like to take even one individual story or report from one person and turn that into a whole species of animal. I don't quite go there. It's just like some scientists tend to want to group everything together, and others like to speciate and come up with different species every time they find a new bone. It's very typical in paleontology to divide up like that. So I'm kind of in the middle on that, and I do think, first of all, I got to say that I think that the whole Bigfoot thing really is a whole bunch of different things. The Bigfoot phenomena is global, and it's been going on forever. And a person goes out in the woods and they have an experience where they see some kind of an unknown primate, and then they call that a Bigfoot. Especially today, people use the word Bigfoot all over the world now. So I don't think that every Bigfoot event is the same thing. It's not the same animal. It's obviously not the same individual. And it's probably not even the same species. Now, as to how many species there are, in paleoanthropology, we're taught when we look at the fossils that there were these Australopithecus, and I mentioned this once before, these ape men, and they describe these ape men as being either gracile or robust. In other words, there are forms that seem to be particularly diminutive and small, with full-grown individuals no more than, say, 3 feet tall. And then they find these examples of creatures that are, 6, 7, 8 feet tall, and these are known as the robust and the gracile. So we have that in the fossil record. What's interesting is we also have it in the anecdotal record that right up to the present day. People are talking about essentially two different kinds of Bigfoot-like creatures, at least one that's pretty tiny and one that's really big. And then there's variation from man-sized ones to giants that supposedly get up to 14 feet tall. So I would hazard to say that the phenomena of the gracile and the robust versions of certain species of hominid is continuing to this day, and that some of these animals do exist in little pockets in various parts of the world. It was suggested by a British scientist a number of years ago that there may be purebred Neanderthals still living in little pockets in the Caucasus and Pamir Mountains in Eastern Europe. So there could be a whole bunch of different animals out there, and I haven't sat down and really tried to say, well, yeah, there's 6 of these different things, or I don't know. I know that there are a number of different ones. The Yeti, I believe, is an example of a quadrupedal or quadrumane ape, much like a mountain gorilla. And I believe that the Sasquatch, which would be the Pacific Northwestern Bigfoot, the one that we first knew about on this continent, I believe, and the one that's in the Patterson-Gimlin film, I think that is a separate species from the Yeti, and I think it's much more man-like. Its footprints indicate that. I believe that the Sasquatch is, like I've said before, maybe is Meganthropus. The Yeti might be Gigantopithecus, or the current version of that, what that evolved into most recently. So I would say that, and then we see these things in Australia. Now we know animals in Australia tend to be quite a bit different than mainland animals. Most of them are marsupials. So animals that you see on the mainland in Australia, for some reason, were doing things like laying eggs, which doesn't seem like the right thing to do, and they were having babies in pouches and behaving in a whole entirely separate way. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Yowie of Australia is also a separate subspecies of some kind of, maybe it's a marsupial primate, I don't know. But people do report seeing unknown hairy bipeds in Australia as well. So I would say that probably the variety that are found in the islands of Indonesia and so forth, Java, Sumatra, Borneo, we probably have versions of these things there that are both gracile and robust. In Africa, we have sightings of animals that are that remind people of these Australopithecus. There's an animal called the agagwi that's reported in Central Africa that are seen around watering holes with baboons and other animals that look like little hairy people. These might be living examples of gracile Australopithecines still existing. I don't know. So I think there could be as many as a half a dozen different species or subspecies of mystery primate running around in the woods and forests of the planet.